It does not take a genius to recognize that when you remove police from high crime communities, crime goes up, not down. Again, one of the more robust social science findings in American race studies is that the removal of police from black communities in the early 20th century led to a radical rise in crime, which exacerbated inequality. But according to Lisa Bender, the president of the Minneapolis City Council, police don't make the city safer. They don't. Wishful thinking and singing Imagine. That's what makes the city safer. Here's Lisa Bender, full-scale idiot.
Yesterday, 9 city council members stood together with our community and pledged to rethink public safety in our community and to acknowledge that the current Minneapolis Police Department is not working to keep our community safe. And really what we pledged was to start a year-long conversation with Minneapolis residents to help us reimagine what public safety looks like as we make those short-term fixes that are so clearly needed in our department.
That was the same lady who suggested yesterday that if someone calls 911 because their house is being broken into, she said this on Allison Camerata, that if someone calls 911, they should check their privilege. Right? You have to check your privilege if you're worried about crime. Okay, so here's the thing. Top Democrats have been asked about this defund the police thing. Pelosi and Democrats were asked about the Minneapolis City Council defunding the police and looking to basically destroy the police department from within. Here is a bevy of Democrats refusing to criticize the Minneapolis City Council for taking measures that obviously are going to make matters worse in high crime communities.
People are calling it defund the police. Is that something that your caucus supports? Is it something that could happen in a federal way? Or is that just...
Well, I can't imagine that happening in a federal way, but let me just tell you that part of that cry is a desire for there to be significant higher investment in communities.
I think the Congresswoman answered your question very clearly. But the fact is that we do have a great deal of legislation coming down the pike that addresses some of the concerns of our communities across the country.
Okay, so this is an explicit refusal to condemn that, right? And then Kamala Harris was asked on The View about defunding the police. And she refused to just say, well, actually, when we say defunding the police, what we don't mean is getting rid of the police. What we just mean is we're going to shift social services. Instead, just dodged the question from Meghan McCain. And then, of course, Twitter trended Meghan McCain because Meghan McCain is very bad for asking the most obvious question. What the hell do you mean by defunding the police?
Are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police?
I assume it's removing police and, as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar said, bringing in a whole new way of governing and law and order into a community.
We need to reimagine how we are achieving public safety in America. And to have cities where 1/3 of their entire budget is going to policing, but yet there is a dire need in those same cities for mental health resources, for resources going into public schools, resources going into job training and job creation. Come on.
By the way, spending money on job training and job creation is not going to stop criminality. It isn't. It is not going to. You need to stop the crime so that people can invest in communities. You got this all backwards. The precondition to economic growth is not pouring state money into a particular area. We have tried this 1,000 times and it always fails. The precondition to economic growth is a safe and secure neighborhood, and then people bringing their money in. Otherwise, you know what you see? All the taxpayers leaving, because where do you think this money comes from? Money doesn't grow on trees. Okay, so the Democrats refusing to explicitly move away from the Defund the Police program because they want to, again, act on the sort of the fire in the guts kind of messaging of BLM.